So we're going to do a quick camera match to Google Earth. This is our site. This is the UNTHC project, and our client is Airs St. Gross, ASG. So we did a screen share with the ASG, and uh, we agreed upon doing this aerial. And so what we need to do is get all the existing context for the surround to do the existing drawing to match up with the new site that they're going to hit. So what we're going to do is so we need to get the existing context in place to do the draw over. The immediate site that we're working on is here. The gray buildings are existing. So here's the view. All right, and I'm going to take the trees here. I'm going to hide the trees, and I'm going to turn off. I'm going to select everything here, and I'm going to hide it all except for what we actually really need, which is just these buildings. I'm gonna unhide this or unlock this guy. So I'm only going to export just these bits here. I'm going to just make another little thing here, and I'm just going to call it GE export. And then we're going to go to File, Export, 3D Model. And the KMZ file is a Google file. And we're going to just save it out here into the desktop folder. It's going to take it a minute. It has to think about it. But once it starts to go, it goes fairly quickly. So here it started up, exporting model, it says starting. This is going to pause here, and then it'll go whoop, like that, and then it'll be done. Okay, so that's done. We have a KMZ file. What we want to do is go ahead and open up that KMZ file. Now, this will bring in the model, and it will place it on the site exactly where it needs to be. And how does it know where it needs to be? The model was made by the client. If we go to model info, you can see here that it has geolocation, it has latitude, longitude. So they've already geolocated this. It's fairly easy to geolocate things, but okay. So now back in Google Earth, we have our buildings, but like look, it's all too high. So if we go here and we click on our model and we say get info, we need to push this down in altitude. Let's just push it down to a negative 230 meters. Are we close? That's pretty close. This needs to go down a little bit more. Let's go back to model info, altitude. Let's go 237. So there we go. So we're on our site there. This is the temporary thing that it brought in. Let's just save to my places. So here's our guy right here that we're working with. And here's the tour. If we go to our aerial, this is the view that we already approved with the client. And to save out high-res files, you go File, Save As, Save Image. And then you can change resolution to maximum resolution. I turn off the title, the legend, scale, because all I wanted to do is just see as much of the existing context as we can. So here we go. We got this guy here. We're going to go to SketchUp, right? Here's our aerial view. And I'm going to set this, let me close this guy up. I'm going to set this window right on top of Google Earth. And then I can flip back and forth between the two programs and say, I'm trying to match this mostly in Google Earth here. Here's our zoom. We look at this corner over here. Look at like it needs to go here. And then we need to zoom in a little bit. So that guy's close. What about here? So we can move up and over. That guy's still close. But here, that guy's pretty close. What about the back? What if we tilted this guy? Whoops. Careful, you know, any small movement is a big jump. So how far away, you know, I touched the mouse wheel just a little bit and then it jumps. So I'm gonna hold down Control and, sorry, Google Earth. I'm gonna hold down Control and zoom in. Being very careful not to touch the mouse wheel on the mouse. That's pretty darn close. You know, on this particular project, we wanted to see this intersection in this building here. So there we go. So what we want to do now, since we got it, you know, 95% of the way there, we want to add a place marker. And we're going to call this Aerial 01 and say OK. And I'm just going to turn off that little place marker there, right? And then I'm going to go File, Save Image. Right here, we got that open. Save right here. And then we're going to go and save this here and call this GE01. So we're going to do 2 exports here out of Google Earth. One with the buildings and one without the buildings. And we're going to use both of those in the camera matching process here. So there's the first one. We have our model in here. Let's turn off the model. Now we have just the existing context. And then we're going to do Save Image here. And we're going to do GE02. Now, this is going to save out. What I want to do is open up this guy in Photoshop, right? And he's 4800 pixels. I'm going to downsize him to half the size. And then I'm going to just save it as GE01-2. This image we're going to use in SketchUp to help us do an exact camera match. So what we want to do, right, is go to our styles. And we're going to add a thing in here. We're going to add, here's our GE02, right? And then it's going to walk you through these things. You can adjust them. I always leave them at just all the default. But you can see like we're pretty close already. Our zoom is 38 millimeters. I've had pretty good success doing, I know the Google Earth is 36 millimeter lens. We use this little plugin to give us these black bars on the side here. You can see on either side. We use that, it's our V-Ray little helper. If I change this to 30 millimeter, I know that I can get pretty close doing a camera match in here. So I can move this guy around. You know, the parts that you want to line up, you know, ideally need to line up are this front line and the buildings right there. You can see it right back there. This is pretty close. Let me just do a quick add, and I'm going to say new style, and I'm going to say, let me just rename this and call it GE Match 1. So there we got our scene. I always do that because you know, small increments, sometimes you get off a little bit, and it's nice to go back to this tab in here. But let's just move this guy ever so slightly back there like that. And this lines up. This lines up. These buildings are doing pretty good. That's, you know, this is going to come through here. This pushes through there. Let me just say update on this guy. I'm just looking at like the corner here. How close are we there? What does that look? That looks. Say update. Here's our original view. Here's our matched view. And we're going to do a little bit like that. And that is a darn good match. So we're going to say update. Okay, and then we want to turn off this background display. And we are going to go add, save as new style, say create scene. I'm going to say rename, and this is air 02-3, right? This is going to be the actual match. And let me just do a file export 2D graphic. And I know that when we draw our aerials, we want to have a much higher res image. Well, normally we draw stuff at 4800. When we draw aerials, we draw it at 6000 because it gives us a little bit more detail in there. So 6000 by 3375. And we're going to go to SketchUp, back to SketchUp. We're going to say options 6000 by 3375. And enter in this best quality, say OK. So I'm going to save it out in here and just call it view 01. So SketchUp's going to export that guy. So what we want to do is open up these two guys and our view and put them and stack them all in SketchUp, or stack them. What we want to do is stack them all in Photoshop. So let's go back to our Finder, and we're going to open this guy, this guy, and this guy. We're going to open them all with Photoshop. So this was our downsized one, so we're just gonna do that. But this is our view. This guy, we're gonna go to 6000, and then this guy, we're gonna go to 6000. We probably don't need this, but we're gonna bring it in anyway, just for clarification. And then you can do right layer, duplicate layer, and I'm gonna duplicate this into view 1, and I don't need him anymore. I don't need to save him. And then I'm going to duplicate this other guy into our view 1. And then I don't need him open anymore, so I'm just going to shut him down. Don't save. So now we have our model, and we have Google Earth 1 and Google Earth 2. And let me put the model on the top. And let's just see how that's. Doesn't get much better than that, folks. And what we want to do is have all the existing, right, and then just show just the new stuff. So the first thing we're going to do is just go around our site. Now we know that this white building is going to be existing. Here's our orange guy, and all this is going to be new. This intersection is going to be new. I'm just going to go all the way around. New. We show much of the existing road as we can. I'm not changing the road. And then I'm just going to hit the layer mask button down here. And it's going to hide the outside parts there. Now, here's the, sorry, I was clicking pretty quick there. So here's the model, the Google Earth with the model in it. And here's Google Earth without the model. And then here is our new site that's in here. I'm wondering if, well, let's just do this. So everything that's gray, we want to show as part of the existing. So what we're going to do is just go around here and say existing, existing, existing. all this, and then I'm going to hide that, right? And then I'm going to take this edge here. We need to show the existing building here like this. And let's see, is that part, is that existing? This existing is a big existing building. So it looks like maybe the site's changing a little bit. I'm gonna mask this guy out. So that matches up. We turn off that. We do have our through street there, which all of this is going to be all existing in here. No change to that. All right, so, and then this gray part's going to be existing. Looks like they're going to add another floor to this parking deck, but let's just show all of this as existing. Oh, okay. Well, that building's built, but clearly it's not in Google Earth, so I'm just going to leave him in there. But we do have some of this part's already built, so we'll just use that. And we have some existing, well, we'll just show this. And then what about this building? Yep, that guy's built. So we'll just sort of wand around this guy. Fill. It looks like they're adding on to this building right here. They're keeping some of it, but then adding on to some of it. So let's just see what happens when we show just this part. Oops. See how nice this is when everything's lined up. It really saves a huge amount of time. And then this gray building there, that's also going to be existing. So let's just get him in there. Are they adding on to the back of that guy? Okay, so they're going to add on to that. And then he's going to connect to this feller over there. And then we got one more existing building in here. And we're going to, oops, hide that guy. This existing building is a little bit bigger than what they're showing in the model. So what does that do? Oops, turn it back on. Okay, anything else that's needs to be hidden? What is this guy? It's a little building there. We'll just draw that in. Okay, and then what about these guys? Got some little existing things there too, but I'm not going to worry about them. So I'm just going to make a new layer here and then pop it down. Right, so we can see all the new stuff that needs to be drawn. Everything else is existing, which can be drawn in its entirety. So what do we do here? We all the steps again, real quick. We went to SketchUp, and we cleaned things up. Just turn stuff off. Let's see here. We turned things off. We exported a KMZ file. We opened the KMZ file in Google Earth. You can see here. Then in our case, we had to move the model down to fit it on the site. We did a fairly decent camera match going from SketchUp to Google Earth. We added a place marker. It was called Arial. We hid the place marker. We exported two things from Google Earth, one being with the model on, one being without the model on. And then we went back to SketchUp and we used a lower res version with the model on. And here it is in the back. And then we did another camera match from the Google Earth. And this gets us 95%, 99% of the way there. And then we did that through the layers, the scene styles, and added a watermark. And then we turned off the watermark. We exported this straight out of SketchUp. And then we opened up that view and the two Google Earth views back into Photoshop. We stacked them in order. And then essentially all we did was add a layer mask to hide all of the existing to show just the new things. And so right now at this point, we're going to take this into our drawing program and start to draw all of the existing context. And that's it. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel and check out our other videos. Thank you so much.